Just talk to us about this World Menu Report. What is it, and what is it that a new kind of consumer is looking for?
The World Menu Report was something which we commissioned across 3,500 surveys that were done across 7 major countries. And it was really just focusing on what the diner, the consumer, the person that participates in out-of-home is actually looking for. We've always focused on what restaurants and hotels and chefs and operators do, but never really on the consumer. So this is the first time that we've done this report. It's the first time that it's been released. And we found that surprisingly, 9 out of 10 people in both the developing and the developed countries are looking for clarity on how their product was, how their food was sourced, how was it made, and the nutritional content of it.
How prominent was the African voice? Because I know that the survey was conducted in traditional Western nations and then in something like 10 non-Western nations, mainly in Asia. Where were the Africans in all of this?
There wasn't any particular survey done in Africa. It was done across some developed and some countries like in Turkey and in the US, but not specifically in Africa.
Okay, but in terms of what it is that the new consumer in emerging markets is looking for, I know that with apparel, for instance, people have become very brand conscious. So when it comes to gastronomic information that people are looking for, what is it that they want?
Well, a lot of it stems from the fact that because the emerging market is now still quite careful with their money. So when you go into a restaurant or you go and have a dining experience, you're looking for something that's going to give you your value for money still. And people are still quite discerning as far as that's concerned, but they're also stepping to the next level and saying, we do want to know, though, how it's prepared. We do want to know that it's safe. You know, if I'm going to spend my money on it, I don't want to get home and not feel well.
I mean, I'm watching my calories. That's my big thing at the moment. And whenever I dine out, I'm a sore person to take out for dinner because I'm looking at food that's too rich in terms of the calorie intake. I'm thinking organically. Is that what the modern day consumer's like?
Exactly, that's what the consumers are looking for. They're looking for something, even on a menu at the moment. In most restaurants that you go into now and you look at a menu, you can't tell whether that food is high in saturated fats or if it is high in salt or in sugars. And people want to know more about it. They want to know also that where it's sourced from, that is in fact a responsible way of sourcing it, that it is sustainable and that we don't just denude whatever it is that we're taking it from. So more and more the diners are saying, let us know what's in here, let us know how you got it, and let me feel good about making those choices myself.
Where does Unilever Food Solutions come into play then? If people are becoming a little bit more discerning, particular about their needs, the products that you're providing the hospitality industry, how does it meet this changing perspective?
We now that we have this report and us as the industry have done it, feel the responsibility that as an industry we can help chefs and operators make that more attractive to their diners in helping them to develop their menus and helping them have clearer labeling on whatever products they use from us and from any other manufacturer for that matter. But the diner is calling that shot, and the diner is saying, the consumer is saying, I want to know more. And we think that in that way, simply by helping those chefs, we will help them become more successful in their business.
Are you going out on a limb here? I know that I referred to a growing African middle class and we're seeing more people earning over $5,000 US, but in comparison to those on the breadline, that number is still very much a drop in the ocean. Is the hospitality industry that dynamic in terms of its growth, in terms of the consumer growth, that we should be making these changes?
I think yes. Otherwise, we certainly wouldn't be pushing it as hard as we do. We all know that a quick way to, or a sustainable way to alleviate long-term poverty and job creation is by tourism and increasing tourism. A large part of tourism being hotels, restaurants, etc., and people eating out. So I think that is a large part of how we can help. I was reading an article recently of one of the big fried chicken producers that's going to expand their outlets, double their number of outlets into the rest of Africa by 2015 to almost 1,200 outlets, and we form a large part of that, where we can, where we will grow with those operators into the rest of Africa.
I mean, let's talk about local produce and local content in the design of new food products or food-related products. We've got major agricultural producers in Africa, and a large proportion of the population is employed in one way or another in the agricultural sector. Is there a big drive by your company to improve on local content and to work with local suppliers?
There is, yes. We talk, for example, I give you the quick example on tea, for example. We source our tea all through sustainable resource through the Rainforest Alliance in Kenya. So we make sure that we behave in that manner to try and also to keep it local, to help grow those smaller farmers and operators.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the aspirations of the new African middle class. I did speak that we're, well, certainly in Asia and some in Africa, becoming very brand conscious. But with a bit more money to spend, what sort of things are they looking for?
It varies throughout the different markets throughout the area I look after. But if I look particularly in let's say in Pakistan as an example, eating out is in fact it is entertainment, and it is sharing a meal together, and it does form part of the entertainment. For some people, eating out is where you are under pressure, cash rich, time poor. It's sustenance, and it's buying something on the go because you don't have the time to prepare it at home. We are finding, though, a lot more people, as income starts growing for the middle market, is that they're actually saying, look, we're going to participate in this as well. We're going out and we're planning a meal out, or we're planning even a takeout meal. All of that forms part of the out-of-home meal business.
Unilever has said that they plan to push for double-digit growth in Africa. It's a new market, a growing market, and they really want to capture the potential that's in this market. What's the strategy to be employed?
Oh, exactly that. By focusing now on consumers, on what consumers want, as opposed to waiting for an operator to grasp that concept, we see a very clear opportunity in the emerging middle market to grow by double digit, and that goes throughout Africa as well as Pakistan, where certainly we've been growing healthily. Even in the dire circumstances that they've been going through, there's certainly good growth coming out of those areas. As far north as up in Mashriq and in Egypt, good growth coming from those countries as well. All people going to eat out more and more.
Right. I mean, obviously, Africa has become a more peaceful and democratic place, but there are a few hotspots on the continent, and certainly that's the situation in a country like Pakistan. What's your experience of doing business and trying to grow your business in volatile areas?
I think the one uniqueness that we have in Africa, and even in the Middle East for that matter, is this amazing resilience. So a disaster happens, a flood happens, there are indiscriminate and illogical, for want of a better word, bombings, etc. And the nation gets together, they pick up the pieces, and it takes them about a week. Everybody looks after their family, and then they start going out again. So it does hit us and those businesses in the short term over a couple of days, but then people quickly bounce back again and start going out and start participating again in eating out of home.
And then finally, I mean, I know Unilever's spoken about the concept of reverse engineering and trying to make sure that your products are relevant to the specific locale in which you operate. Given the diversity of Africa and cultural diversity and different palates that exist in Africa, how strongly have you packaged some of your goods in this space to meet that domestic demand?
We look at each market that we operate into traditionally what are let's say the top 10 dishes that the people will participate in, and then we develop our products around that. As how would you make the operator or the chef's life easier in that environment? How do you make it more convenient for him? How do you help him grow his business? Because at the end of the day, you want growth within each one of those businesses, because that will contribute to the overall country's economic growth.